Hello there, my name is Rachel. The first time you see my channel, I used to review anime series, cartoon series, or something completely random. Today we're going to talk about the new anime series from Hulu and Pika and DreamWorks called The Abominable and the Invisible City. This title, if you heard it before, is because DreamWorks made a movie called The Abominable. But the only problem is this film is not the best film of DreamWorks. Especially was sort of mishandled. Specifically, it was basically a new film from a new studio from DreamWorks, and you can tell this is the first time Ashley decided to do a film, or at least experience enough. You can tell they see the movie, you feel they did struggle, but the series actually fix that problem because they realize they have a gold mine, but they just need to stretch it out and adapt it. And this series did that well. In fact, to be honest with you, when I heard this show about to start, I was worried. I don't want to see this, but I have to. When I finally started watching it, I was surprised how good it really was. Maybe because my expectation was really low, so I started watching the first couple of minutes. I was starting to be impressed because each character of this series are basically basic but well executed. But I love that each character, they're basic, but they have motivation that actually makes sense. Their motivation is the core of their personality, and that is sort of hard to do because when you create a character, you need to know what their motivation is. Even if something so simple needs to be in the core personality. For example, Eve, how the whole story starts, want to help magical creatures because the magical creature help her deal with her problems. So she want to pay back all the magical creatures who helped her. One of the big examples, the Abominable snowman that she helped in the movie. Because of that, she is dedicated to save every magical creature who needs help. And that is sort of interesting because she is sort of the go-getter. She will go do something crazy to save or at least accomplish the mission. Once again, you understand that she needs to do this. She needs to prove herself she is worthy of their help. And that is sort of interesting because that is one of the biggest character flaw that Eve actually have. But at the same time, the most endearing because you understand her motivation. Because these magical creatures help her in her darkest hour. And she now paid that in full price. Yeah, I love that. I love that motivation. Even Eve is a very interesting, fun character because she's trying to learn her magic using her violin that she doesn't know how to use. In fact, I love it how they explain how the magic works. Magic is sort of doing destructions of someone else. Basically, you directed them to do a certain thing. And that is sort of interesting because I never seen a magic system explained that way. Even that I love is the teamwork with the whole team, with Eve, with Jen, with Ping. I know I did not say all the names correctly or were the right names. I'm sorry. I'm not good at names. But besides that, this the second part makes this series so good. To see these three understand the teamwork, understand who take lead, who be the strategist, who be the bait, and sort of argue understanding how they actually work. In fact, the first 3 or 4 episodes is about that teamwork, figuring out what to do. He also explained sort of the magic rules of this world. Because there are some moments that you don't believe that, come on, everybody see this huge creature. You cannot pretend they didn't see it, or it's sort of obvious. It's a crowd of people, but I don't know where you don't see no one. They don't see this. And once more, you think that's lazy writing or just being lazy or don't know how to do it the right way. But no, they actually have a good explanation. It's that not a lot of people see magical creatures. In fact, good 95% of the world can't because they lost the ability to see magical creatures. That only that rare 5%. And that's why they get away with so little things like passing Bigfoot across the street pretending they're as their uncle. Once again, that could be possible because they have a trench coat, and people who can see magic can't really focus because they're doing something else. And that's fascinating and interesting because you have the sort of funness, how to get away around something, even using something really obvious but sometimes really dumb and really fun, does this series so well. Of course, you have the other characters who contribute this team will be Jin, that sort of I want to be a veterinarian, I want to follow the rules, the serious type, the sarcastic type. Thanks to him, he does point out so many things wrong or flawed about this series, but at the same time admitting this is stupid, but at the same time you like it. He's the one who actually thinks in the team. He just stops everything and say, think about it. You think this is a good idea? Basically, Jin is basically the common sense of Eve, because Eve throw away common sense to actually help someone. Once again, you need this character so badly. This character can easily be boring, but no, they actually make him likable or charming. He'd be a little stuck up, but you kind of understand that's how he is. He's a little pretentious, but he does care. Of course, you have the third member, Bing. I know I said his name incorrectly, I'm sorry, but Bing is basically the little brother of Eve, that he is basically the funny guy, but at the same time he is the sacrifice or the patsy, because he know what he is, he's okay with it, but I love it, he tries whatever he can to help the team, help the magical creatures, and that's what he is. Once again, that is sort of interesting how each member kind of distributes in the team. Now, the grand thing I like is the fact each magic creature don't talk. They have their own language and the kids can't understand, so they have to sort of reinterpret. They have to figure out what they're trying to say or what they need. Especially the Abominable, he's the one who started teaching Eve to use magic. Yeah, I found that fascinating how Abominable tries so hard to make conversation or at least understand the situation is sort of not the right way to do. Once again, this makes this another extra layer because it's sort of hard to actually deliver that, because sometimes it's sort of hard to make drama if everybody understand themselves, because part of the drama is not understanding the other character. Yeah, glad they made that very clear about this series. Now, the second thing is this series is building up to something. They do explain some of the magic creatures having sort of relationships with human beings. That's sort of, I make a contract with this magical creature to help the thing I need to do, and I help them what they need. I think one of the big examples is sort of this magical mothball, that this thing attacks people because it's hungry. He needs to eat sugar. But you find out is this magical mothball is not evil. It's actually just hungry. And you realize this magical mothball actually was sort of being fed by a candy store owner because he understands the relation of human and magic. But it's sort of that lore that is sort of missing, and that's the kids are wondering, okay, we have this magic book, or not magic book, especially or traditional magic storybook who explain all this lore but doesn't have inside the book. Why? What happened? Why some people don't give magical facts in this book? It's because they were hunting for someone, and that is sort of interesting because in this series, this season 1 is building up to something. There is someone there trying to hunt down each magical creature. We don't know why, we don't know who, and I'm trying not to spoil it because it's good. It's one of those series, it is very binge watchable. When you start watching, you can't stop. It's that sort of fascinating. Of course, there is one specific wrong thing about this series is the pacing, or aka sometimes some scenes are a little bit slow or sometimes it's a little bit rushed. They just don't get the timing just right. Specifically the first episode, how they ended. There's like Eve falls down the building and this magic bird needs light, and super fast this bird got recharged and automatically saved her, but it's so fast, so quick. I feel so impressed the fast forward button just to get that point. And that's what I mean. You have this sort of weird moments, but once again, that's the only complaint I have for right now, because I'm trying not to spoil that much. Maybe later on season 2, if this series gets season 2, I go more deep dive, but this saves the whole movie. I mean, I do not recommend watching the movie. There is no point, because a good series doesn't need to make you. The good series doesn't need you to watch the movie. A good series is a fact. Let us explain, because they do rely on the movie too much. There's a lot of people who watch the series are curious, they will get lost. They do explain it, but certain bits, little bits here and there. But once again, they did it so well that you need to see the movie. You don't need to see the movie, because the movie is not watchable. I mean, it is watchable if you're 5 or 8, but it's done so badly, you just sort of, no. Once again, I did not see the anime movie, but this is the reason why I love animated series, that you don't need that sort of backup. It's sort of a options. One of the big examples, the real Ghostbusters. You don't need to see the movie to enjoy the real Ghostbusters. That's the part, the big example to make an animated series based on a movie and make it work. Once again, I highly recommend this series. Now I have one question. Do you like this series? Do you hate it? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Bye.